Our Tyler of the program, ladies and gentlemen.
Whoa!
What? He deserves it. He deserves it. Not that it's not, I'm not taking any slights at Tua, even though the rest of the NFL media is. Jeez.
It's called the Tyler Huntley Hour.
I would say there's something fundamentally wrong with how the Dolphins do things right now. It just is. And
You feel like it's got rot right now, just around it.
Yeah.
It's like a tree that you know is going to die.
And this is, how can I put this? This is our fault too. And here's why.
You put that on me, Ricky Bobby.
When the team was good consistently, and when I mean good, I mean always in the playoffs, competing, but not getting over the hump, right? We complained because it was too boring, right? It was too boring. All they complained about was kicking field goals and running the football and doing stuff like that.
Which era were you talking about?
Huh?
Which era was this?
You can go back from even before Nick Saban. You could go back to Jimmy Johnson, then follow it with Sperano.
I mean, they were boring.
Huh?
They were boring. They weren't good offenses.
But hold on. But if you had the base of those offenses and defenses, and then you added Tyreek and players like that, you would be in a better place because your base is good. Right now, they've added all of the pieces, but your base.
What argument is this? Like, if we took all the best pieces of every team, we'd have a better team. Of course. The Dolphins have had.
I'm just saying the way those teams were built, even though everybody thought they were boring, were more competitive.
Not necessarily.
Yes.
Not really.
All right.
Like, they're still in the midst of all these times you're talking about, 25 years, still not winning playoff games. And like, even if you go back to like the Wildcat year when they won the division, like that was a year built on a lot of like hocus pocus, incredible like turnover luck. Like, I get it. They're it's different because you could power run it with a loaded line, but it's also not like the first time the Dolphins have had line issues either. They had line issues with Brian Flores. They tried to make Jesse Davis a left tackle for $3 million. Dude sucked. Got to his ribs broken. Hello.
I'm just saying.
But I'll tell you one constant who's been here the whole time. Chris Greer.
Christopher Greer.
Are we still playing quotes from him?
In the
would rather
promo we are.
not be
Why not?
annoyed.
Why?
I just think it's a
How do you guys think he handled that press
Terrible.
conference?
Not great.
terrible.
Not great. I mean, like, I do think that he's at a point right now where I don't think he could win a press conference even if he tried. But I do think he could have a push. And I do think he goes into these press conferences. I'm like, wow, he left that worse than he entered it. And that's kind of where he's at right now. And he's done that the last two press conferences. He did that the season ender, and then he did this one. Can't name a leader besides Zach Sealer. And you go to Tyreek Hill? What are you doing? Even if you don't believe it, like, you guys are sitting here. You've done more window dressing on Tyreek Hill than anything this offseason. You didn't just have it in your back pocket. Just say Tua is the leader. Just say Tua is the leader. Just Cheetah. No, no one believes that. Kidding me? So no, I mean, we haven't played any quotes from him. Are you sure you don't want to hear from him?
Yes.
All right.
But
I'll respect your wishes.
Only because we know the pressure was terrible.
Yeah.
We know that.
He was mean to Cam Smith. I liked it.
I did too.
First of all,
I did too.
I liked it.
Shouldn't have. This is year 4 for him.
Yeah.
You should already know.
He was also
Yeah,
there was one point where he was asked about the extensions, and he goes, He goes, well, they earned that money. And I mean, you could go back and be like, oh, about that guy you drafted in the 3rd round. Like, yeah, about that guy you haven't drafted in the 3rd round, like Channing Tindall. Does he play football for the Dolphins? Because I feel like he's been on the roster for a while.
Yeah,
he was last year, yeah, but he doesn't play.
See,
He's a special
and
team.
what bothers me about this whole situation is the guys that actually contribute, you let walk, and you're holding on to guys in hopes that they pan out. When most teams do it the other way. I got to tell you, if I'm a GM of a team and I draft a guy or I draft a 2nd or 3rd rounder and he ends up being a starter or a Pro Bowler, I'm putting those guys on a pedestal and saying, look at this. I drafted these guys. I'm not letting them walk.
What are you going to do, though, dude? That's, he's...
Every GM does that, though. Every GM talks about the guys they drafted, except for Chris Greer. Because all the guys he drafted are gone.
Or they sucked.
Or they suck, which doesn't do good for his track record when the only guys you have to see that he drafted aren't playing.
Still is Eichenberg here.
So he did it for him. He did it to himself. Because guess what? If you had, and I won't even count the safety. I get that.
Who,
but,
Holland?
Yeah. But if you had Christian Wilkins, and you had, who's the other guy that let walk?
Van Ginkel.
Van Ginkel.
You've mentioned Van Ginkel literally every show for the last 3 weeks.
Because it's annoying. Look, I am no brainchild of football, right? I'm a simpleton.
I don't think that's true.
And here's what I understand. You had a guy on your roster that had to come in and play, and he was excellent.
Yeah, but you're not.
And you let him walk without your other 2 guys who he replaced being healthy.
Yeah, but you're not a simpleton of football.
I'm just saying, does that make any sense? That is the one thing that will always drive me crazy about this.
Why can't you be a short yardage consultant?
Because
you went to Michigan.
Wait,
Stephen Ross would be.
Can I just tell you why?
You would be doing Stephen Ross a
favor. Can I just tell you why?
That's pretty good.
Because short yardage has nothing to do with talent.
Yeah.
You know, it's an attitude.
That's what you need to tell them.
Oh,
it's an attitude.
You need to tell them that. You're just doing it.
Right, but it starts with the coaching.
I don't even realize it, though.
Your offensive line can't have an attitude if it's 4th and 1 and 3rd and 1 and you run a damn sweep.
Sometimes you need to cut to the chase, right? Like, and I think you can't be Lusaka polite. You got to be Lusaka rude.
Yeah.
If anybody comments on some of the things I've said,
-1.
Keep replay that. And then, well, why isn't nobody? That was terrible.
For show poniness.
You're done with football? You're done with football takes?
Leroy B would be a consultant in short ribs. Very tasty, my short ribs.
True. That's true.
So, like, it's not. I get.
Ooh, what about Damian Martinez? We get him this year?
Oh,
yeah,
that'd be good.
I
literally
understand a lot of the things that they tried to do, right? But I think Chris Greer put himself in the situation where we look at him the way we do. Because if he at least kept the guys he had, or if Van Ginkel was still on this team, he could at least say, hey, I'm above average in the draft. Look at the guys that I have here. Look at the guys we drafted.
But this is the thing that I'm annoyed with him, though. And this was honestly the thing that pissed me off the most from the press conference. Is he was asked, I think it was by Omar by the end. It was like, yeah, have you learned? I don't remember the exact question, but it was about something about the change of philosophy or how have you changed? And this is where he had the old I've deferred too much to coaches. And I'm just like, that's such a classic move to just get all stink off of you. Because then it's like you could always have plausible deniability on all of it.
You know what that sounds like? I'm going to tell you. Write a ticket.
Right.
That's the equivalent
Yeah.
of football write a ticket.
I deferred too much. And it's like, wait, okay, so are you Mr. Collaborative? Because that's like always the thing with him, right? The only things I know about this guy, loves injured players. I'm collaborative.
You know how I feel about that.
I'm collaborative.
I have fought you to the end about that one fact right there.
The injured players is a collaboration.
This team, with what has plagued them over the years, should not be signing injured players. When Tua got drafted, my complaints had nothing to do with Tua. It had to do with Tua bringing Tua in as the 5th pick, injured.
That's why I scouted his gate.
I'm sorry, Leroy. Just like on behalf of everyone.
What?
I apologize. He's really, really trying his best.
I'm not trying anything.
No,
if
not
he
you.
was a short yard, no. But you understand because he needs to cut to the chase.
Stop. See this right here? This is what, look. This is why you can't tell me nothing. This is why you can't have a comment on some of my comments that I make, because you don't stop.
Until we get your money right.
See?
Yeah, smack that one in there.
See?
Gotta watch out for the jab.
I apologize. We'll take a break.
Tobin's a show pony.
And